First and foremost, before I begin this lesson, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachaha Kodash. Okay, double honors go out to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule and teach well. Shalom wa barakiam to you brothers and sisters out there. Alright, this is the brother Malachiah from the Great Millstone Nashville branch. And Lord willing that this lesson is edifying to the hopeful elect. Okay, I just wanted to put some on wax in transit. Just got done with work not too long ago. You know, I just decided to put 12 tribes sign up there, you know, which is a big prophecy in itself. All right, Ezekiel 37 talking about that stick, which goes into a plank of wood. All right, talking about how all the 12 tribes are written on it. You know, that's what we see at camp. We see the hopeful elect being gathered together from the four winds. All right, just like how they're going to be delivered from the four corners of the earth, pursuant to Matthew 24, quoting Yahushua, when his angels shall gather the elect from the four corners. Before they get gathered physically, they're getting gathered spiritually. This is the spiritual third temple. You see? And I believe it's Baruch 4 and 37, I want to say. It's the last verse of Baruch 4. And it mentions how, you know, the children of Israel are going to come from the east to the west by the word of the Holy One, rejoicing in the glory of Yahweh B'Shem Shai. And that's especially possible because Yahweh B'Shem Shai created the internet, right? The unicorn. How the scriptures speak about how there's no place where their voice was not heard. Right? Speaking about the voice of the prophets, and we're all coming together to serve our God, our power, with one consent yet again. Right? Which we've been disconnected from our power for a very long time. Jeremiah 17 and 4. Because of our iniquity, because of our rebellion, continuous rebellion, the Lord casted us off, but not forever. Right? He said that in Malachi 3 and 6. You know, he said that many times. Okay? The Lord is going to forever love and deal with his people, the people of Israel. You so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians. And the scattered amongst the heathen. Right? They go back to one of the 12 tribes of Israel. You see? We are the chosen people, man. We are the kings and priests that are going to rule the earth in the coming days. That's not a light thing, right? Which is why there isn't light work expected from us. Now, it's not what we do, you know, especially speaking about myself, what I do is nothing compared to what Yahushua did. You know, I don't go through shit compared to, you know, the apostles, the elders, the Akim out there. You know, I don't have a crazy workload. You know, but everybody has to put forth effort and do what they need to do to further this ministry and get to the kingdom of heaven. All right, which is going to take place here on earth. Okay? And we're sure of that. We believe. If we didn't believe, we wouldn't be here. All right, because like it says in James 2, works without faith is dead. Hebrews 11 and 6, without faith you can't please God. What is faith? Yahushua said, blessed is he that believes but has not seen, but yet have not seen. But Apostle Thomas was a member of the elect. All right, it's just there's different levels of faith. So it's not knocking, you know, his faith, which ultimately Apostle Thomas laid down his life for the Lord. So what can you say about him? He was a man of Yahweh B'Shem Shai. You know, we just all have different levels of faith, like the apostle, the beloved Apostle Gabar has brought out in times past. You see? But we believe. We're fully persuaded, like it says in Corinthians. We are here because we want to be here. You know, which ultimately we know it was all predestination. And Yahushua said, ye have not chosen me, but I have chosen you and ordained you that you should go forth, you know, and receive fruit. You know, like Yahushua told Apostle Peter, I will make you fishers of men. Right, and that's what we're doing. We're fishing for the elect. right? We go out on the highways and byways, every Saturday or, whatever day of the week that your local camp, decides to congregate and teach the word on the highways and byways. But then we also put up these lessons. All right, we pray, we fast, we pay tithes, we counsel amongst each other. We fellowship. There's a lot to it. It's more than just making a video. This truth is a lifestyle. This is who we are. This is who we want. This is who we want to be, and this is all we want to be. We want to continue to walk down that straight gate, that narrow path that few are going to continue on. We don't plan on giving up, man. Yahweh forbid. Like Yahushua said, a man that takes his hand off the plow is not fit for the kingdom of heaven, in the book of Luke. I believe the 12th chapter, or it might be the 7th. I think the 12th goes into how if you knew what the Lord required of you and you didn't do it, you're going to be beaten with many stripes. You're going to be judged worse than a man that was in the world. You're going to be judged worse than him because you came into this knowledge. You tasted of that heavenly gift, like it says in Hebrews. And you denied it. And you went back into the world, became a reprobate. Like Yahushua said, 7 spirits worse than before now are, entered into your body. That's why we see a lot of guys, they fall away from the faith, and all of a sudden they were, we already saw them slipping, but now that they're gone, that dude's all fucked up. He's all crooked, man. And his works are not going to follow him. Now, it doesn't mean that his works didn't have value in the time, but his works are not going to follow him into the kingdom because he gave up, right? Because you might have a brother that passes away in the faith, or in the time of, martyrs, he might pass away, but his works are going to follow him, bro. Blessed are them that die in the Lord, for their works follow them, They did their job. They finished the course. Like Apostle Paul had said, I have finished the course. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to finish, man. However much longer we got here, we pray, Yahweh Shemel Shairatazah, man, that it's only a couple more years, but regardless of how long it is, we're going to be in it for the long haul. We're going to wait, man. We're going to go through whatever the hell we need to go through because Yahweh Shai did it for us. Alright, Romans 12:1. Alright, Ecclesiastes 12:13. This is the whole duty of man, to fear the Lord and to keep his commandments. It's our reasonable service to present our bodies as a living sacrifice. Alright, to sacrifice our time, energy, money, goals and aspirations of the world. Family members, not literally. Alright, we're not on the left-hand side. We're not literally sacrificing our father and mother and cousin, brother, sister, friend. But it means give up. Prioritize. You see? We're not chasing riches and vanity. Right? We're chasing to please Yahweh Shemel Shai. We're looking to be delivered and preserved from these set perils, because these perils are coming very soon. Alright, very, very, very soon, and we are hastening that day, man. Romans 13:11 tells us that our salvation is nearer than when we believed. So we could say, yeah, Lord, when we get out in a couple years, we can get out this year. We can get out next year. Yeah, there ain't much going on in terms of hell breaking loose as prophecies, but I don't know, man. We might be paying rent for another year. EMP can go off tomorrow. We don't know. But we're watching. We're sober-minded. That's what it means to be sober-minded, bro. It doesn't mean that you don't have no drink, okay? Now, by all means, moderate your drinking. I'm working on that. Everybody's different, so brothers are going to have different levels, but I personally am a man that enjoys a drink. It's not part of my life, per se, but it's something that I enjoy doing. It helps me unwind, relax, right? But I'm not making it my personality, okay? Especially as we're coming into times where people are getting more grimy. You gotta watch yourself, bro. You gotta be circumspect. Right? So you shouldn't be out in public wasted. You shouldn't be wasted at all, really. Okay, but especially out in public, you shouldn't be nice as hell, But when the scriptures say sober-minded, it's ultimately talking about mentally. You need to be paying attention. watching, observing, listening. You know, and not just listening to what's going on in the public, but most importantly, listening to the Spirit, listening to the apostles and elders, listening to order that is being passed down and given for our benefit, for our well-being, ultimately. You know? So just, look, if you're somebody that likes to drink, just make sure you moderate it. Make sure it's not hindering you. Make sure it's not, destroying. And that goes with everything, not just drink. Insert whatever you want in there. All right, you know the deal. Like Yahweh Shai said, if your right eye offending, pluck it out. Your hand, cut it off. Whatever you got to do to make sure that you're going to be here tomorrow in this truth and this knowledge at Camp Saturday, doing your lessons, doing your videos, whatever you got to do, then do it. Real talk. All right, so Lord willing, that this lesson was edifying. Before I close, I want to give all praises to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem Rachah HaKodash. Double honors go out to our apostles, elders, a great millstone who grew and teach well. Shalom wa barak yam to you brothers and sisters out there, man. I really pray that this was edifying. I know, it wasn't, necessarily a long lesson. I'm not known for making long lessons, so salaki for that. I'm just trying to play my role, play my part. So I pray it was edifying. I pray you, at least took something from it. I'm definitely not trying to waste nobody's time. With that said,